The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Okay, it's time for another edition of Mick Shots here. We are in the Funtown RV tailgate here at Tostitos Championship Plaza, and this is Mick Shots. And should I start with this?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm going to start with this. Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm just going to play it. I'm going to play it on my iPhone. Here you go. See if you can hear this.
Talk about the past, the research and thoughts that you put into how you structure the practice week, getting back to your time in Green Bay. Given the trend of slow starts, is that something that you take a look at, seeing whether or not you tweak how you structure the practice week, or is that something that's off the table? God.
Sorry, they like the question. I just want that wasn't me. Jesus.
Oh, man. So there you go. What better way to start off Mick Shots as
with a Mick Shot?
Everson, I wonder who that was.
I don't know, man. It sounded like some little Italian guy, maybe.
Somebody didn't like that
It
question.
wasn't Fauci. It wasn't Fauci.
Kind of sounded like.
I should throw myself under the bus. I wasn't in the room, so I called in.
Please explain yourself, Spag.
I called in on the phone, and you're supposed to mute your phone until you have to ask a question, and I totally forgot to mute my phone, and I was talking to myself like, are you serious? That's a question?
Which he does on every question.
Which I do during the game. If anybody mic'd me up in the press box, I got my headsets on and I talk to myself, and I was just like, and I heard everybody laughing in the room up in our office, and I go, oh hell, they heard this.
So you didn't realize that?
No, I didn't realize I didn't hit the mute button, and then I hit the mute button afterwards.
Oh yeah,
but it was a little bit late.
Closing that barn door after all the horses are gone.
Now, were you listening the whole press conference?
Yes.
So you went 12 minutes without a reaction like that.
Yeah. It was
so I'm proud of you. You made it 12 minutes. You made it through about 10 or 12 questions without a reaction.
Just be proud of me. That's all I said.
Exactly. There's just no telling what you might have said.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Hot mics,
Oh, that was hilarious. And I think Coach McCarthy felt bad for Michael Gelkin, who asked the question. He wound up going like 3 minutes on the answer
and see what happened for
what
McCarthy.
What
happened with McCarthy was yesterday. If you remember, Kelvin Watkins asked a question that was the most obvious, answer you can get.
About a young quarterback.
He said, "Yeah, if you got a young quarterback, is it more difficult to game plan for a rookie quarterback than it is for Dak or Andy Dalton?" And he started laughing, and he goes, "I can't see underneath your mask. Was that supposed to be funny?" So I'm sure he was pretty sensitive that, oh, no, I didn't do it again this time. That wasn't me.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he had to say, look, that was not me.
So I immediately text Scott Agulnik, the Cowboys' assistant PR person, and I said, hey, tell Mike I apologize. Yeah. I'm sorry. And he goes, oh, no need. He thought it was funny.
Did he know it was you right off the bat?
Oh, I don't think so. Everybody else recognized my voice.
What do you think, Bill? He knew.
Yeah,
he knew. Even if he didn't recognize the voice, it was the action alone. That's got to be Spag.
But see, he doesn't know me that well.
Well, if
probably
McCarthy was around a little bit longer,
Yeah.
or if we had more interaction with him, he would have called you out. He
would have said, that sounds like Spags.
Yeah, he would have said.
Because think about this.
Sounds like Mickey didn't like that question.
We probably haven't talked face-to-face since the middle of January when he did that last press conference upstairs at the Star. Because everything else has been virtual since then. And it dawned on me the other day, and I think I told you guys this before. I said, we're going to go through an entire season and I probably won't have met a third to almost half the guys on this roster because everything's over. They don't see us.
Yeah.
That means you can say anything you want to about
That's
it.
right.
You never see them.
Like I had about Don Terry Poe.
You knew you were safe saying whatever you wanted to about Don Terry Poe because you're never going to see him.
But you know what?
Two people are in trouble. Don Terry Poe is looking for Spags, and what's the safety?
The safety.
Yeah, Worrell.
Oh, Worley.
Daryl Worley.
Worley is looking for me.
But you know what?
He's looking for me.
Jerry Jones doubled down on what I've said in an interview with
Chris Mortensen.
Chris Mortensen's last night.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically said he was overweight and he wasn't doing anything.
See, I didn't know he was overweight. I knew he wasn't.
Well, how could you tell when you weigh that much? What's overweight? If you're 350 or 370, it's
that's
all the
why
same.
I couldn't tell. I thought that was his weight. I thought that's how he felt comfortable.
I'll take this shot right now too, because I saw the question come up, or someone trying to insinuate that they released him because Jerry was tired of him kneeling for the national anthem.
Nah.
And I'm going, no, he was tired of kneeling on the field because he wasn't doing anything.
Let me say it this way. It didn't help that he kneeled. I would dare say that. It didn't help that he kneeled. But if you're going to kneel, you better ball. That's all I got to say. That's the difference between when you protest and how acceptable it is. If you are a baller, then people are going to pay attention. Yep. Muhammad Ali, if he wasn't Muhammad Ali, no one would care that he didn't go to the Vietnam War. Let's just think about it.
And we can go back to what you were pointing out yesterday about Curvin Richards. If that was Emmitt Smith that fumbled, oh, okay, no problem. We go forward, right? Curvin Richards, you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here next year. You're out. You're gone.
It's like what Jimmy used to say. Everyone made a big deal about John Roper falling asleep in team meetings, and they cut him falling asleep. And Jimmy would say if it was Emmett or Michael,
different story.
He would go find a pillow for him.
Which is funny because the other part of that story is when the meeting was over and he was sleeping, a couple of the players, and Nate would tell this story, we're going up to Roper to wake him up, and Jimmy was like, no, let him sleep. Because he saw an opportunity to send a message, right?
Yeah, that's just what I needed, just what the doctor ordered.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we got more important things to talk about.
I will say, since we talked about Don Terry Poe there.
Can I point out something also?
Okay.
Here's something that no one is, I haven't seen mentioned. So they traded Everson Griffin. They cut Worley and Poe. That's 3, right? Well, they got 3 guys that they needed to make room off injured reserve because they're going to have to bring on Chidobe Awuzie, Sean Lee, and Joe Looney.
Yep.
I don't know if they'll do it this week, but at some point. So they were going to need to make room on the 53-man roster for those guys. So they just made room, basically. And 2 of the guys were basically dead weight.
And so the timing is perfect.
So that was in their thinking also.
One of the guys was dead weight.
Well, yeah. But in their thinking we don't want to give up. We don't want to give up on a bunch of young guys that we're trying to bring along. So who's expendable? And, Worley and Everson Griffin were on 1-year deals. Poe was on a 2-year deal, so that even accentuates how dissatisfied they were with his play because they had to eat $3.5 million of guaranteed money by letting him go.
And that was the tough part.
Yes.
That was the tough part. You can talk about talent all you want, but this is also a game about salary caps. It's about economics, really. And when you start counting up those numbers, that's a tough 3.5 to swallow.
Mm-hmm. And I do special edition with Nate Newton, and he's been on this for a month now about Poe. And
see, Nate knows what he's talking about.
Well, especially when it comes to losing weight. And Nate will say that himself. And so I asked him today, I said, because you notice that coming into this season, there were a number of offensive lineman types, big body types, who opted out this season.
Right.
And part of that might have been due to the fact that bigger-bodied people are more susceptible, or as far as COVID goes. Underlying condition.
Maybe,
but also, without an off, I asked Nate. So, how difficult would it have been for you to go into a season without an off-season program, because I just remember those scenes during OTAs or quarterback schools, or whatever we called it back then, where Nate, they're running Nate to get him in shape to go to training camp. And he said, there's no doubt about it that he would have not it would not have been pretty at all himself in training camp because of the issues that he had just naturally losing weight and not being in a regimented program of doing it.
Well,
now
think about
you've
Nate.
got your own personal trainers
Right.
and stuff, but still.
And he had to do that before he even came in for the conditioning, strength and conditioning. He used to call it, I went to the fat farm.
Right, exactly.
And he would drop 30 pounds, 40 pounds, and then he'd come in. And I wish, these things weren't here because we have a camera I can get up. But when they did their conditioning tests, so they used to have to run 110s, right?
That's right.
And each group had so many they had to run in a certain amount of time, right? Well, Nate never finished them.
No.
But we nicknamed it the Nate Shuffle because his feet never came off the ground after about the first or second one. It wasn't running, it was shuffling his feet. And God bless Charles Haley. So when you couldn't finish him, then you owed Jimmy that many sprints.
Yes.
Or whatever. And Haley would go and run with Nate to kind of drag him along, to encourage him. And you can say all the stuff about Haley, but that was one of the things, a little bit of compassion, right?
Don't let Charles Haley fool you.
Yeah, right?
Charles Haley's a great guy. He's a good dude. Let's just be real. The difference, though, between what you're talking about with Nate back then and what's going on now, back then, our off seasons, we were truly off. We didn't work out during the off season. I mean, I always stayed active just because that's me. But the big guys, they would always rest over the entire off season. And then they would come into training camp to get in shape, if you recall. Nowadays, it's different. They go year round.
Right.
Yep. So it would be a bit easier for Nate, even with COVID. He would probably social distance himself with a trainer because it's not taboo now. It was taboo then. Big guys are not working out in the offseason.
I remember doing an interview with Dee Lewis, and at some point in the interview, it came up. So a lot of these guys had jobs, right? And I said, "What did you do in the off season?" He goes, "I sat in the pool and did 12-ounce curls every day."
And that's what it was about. No one's thinking, okay, of course, Cowboys were always in the playoffs back when I played. So it's no way we're going to take the off season after mid-January, and go work out more. That's not going to happen.
Yep.
We did not do
And
that.
the other thing to consider about Dontari Poe is that he had the same injury last football season that Gerald McCoy had in training camp this year. He had a quad and had quad surgery, and so he was coming off that to begin with. And so the first half of his off season, he's rehabbing from that, and he's not really active in as far as shedding weight and getting in shape and so forth.
But when you're doing rehab,
you're doing something.
You're doing something. And if you're smart and if you're professional, rehab can spring into a regiment. It can spring into structure.
Yeah.
That's the way he should have used it instead of saying, okay, it feels good now. Let me go back and lay down.
Well, he already got his contract in March.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously, carrying all that money around should have helped too.
Well, this will provide opportunities for some of those other young guys. Neville Gallimore will get more snaps.
So the inside guys with Justin Hamilton and Gallimore, and now Tyrone Crawford's
and
moved,
Antoine
Woods. Yeah.
So those guys should get more snaps because he was getting 40 to 45% of the snaps. Poe was. So this will put a little bit more pressure on these other young guys. That let's go. Let's see what you can do.
So are we looking at Crawford being a starter?
Well, he's you know what, on the game book from last game, they had him starting at defensive end, Crawford. Now I don't know if that was accurate. I got to go back and look at the deal. But it's
I know it's old news, but
it was on the play.
I charted it. I went back and looked at it. And I can find it right now.
It had him starting
that's a long way. He came from a long way.
Yeah.
Was it 2 hip surgeries?
2 hips.
That's
Each
amazing
one.
to
you
me.
only have 2, right?
I only have 2.
Yeah. But you'll have one of some things,
I just think
right?
that's amazing that he comes full circle.
Yeah.
You know, I really felt for him in the offseason. You guys were talking about the stories and the trials and tribulations he's been through. And for him to be able to come through all of that, and regardless of how this team is playing, for him to be a starter in the NFL, that's big time.
And the guys that I had out there, man, maybe I didn't see it right, but the guys I saw out there to start the game were Lawrence and Aldon Smith at the ends and Poe and Gallimore inside.
See, that's what I thought. And then I looked at the game book, and it had him starting.
Yeah,
and that might have been one of those things where you turn your starters in before the game.
Right.
And then when you send the guys out in whatever situation
Now, having said that, and I need to go back and look at it, I guess, I've got Washington was in 12 personnel. They had 2 tight ends on the field, which would mean that they would have another lineman in the game, and Jordan Lewis would not be out there. But I got Jordan Lewis marked as being down in there.
And
so anyway,
starting?
Yeah, starting. But at any rate, okay, let me ask you this. Is there a chance mid-season that Mike Nolan could morph this into a 3-4 scheme?
I'm thinking,
because Poe was the key guy in building a 3-4. That's what when you're signing Poe, you're thinking, okay, he's going to be the nose tackle in a 3-4 defense, and then they didn't have the other parts to make it work.
well, I still don't have the other parts,
Right.
and I've
Especially
seen him.
without Poe.
I've seen him transitioning more to a four, basically a 4-2 nickel.
Right.
And now with
Lee
Sean
coming
Lee
back.
coming back, you've got a real strong side linebacker, right? You don't have to masquerade with the defensive end standing up as a strong side linebacker. So, and I've heard that when Lee gets back, maybe I don't know. Maybe Jalen Smith's the strong side linebacker and let Lee run to the ball and be more involved in the coverage that sometimes Jalen Smith struggles with.
And that wasn't the case with the old coaching regime, but we don't know with Mike Nolan.
Yeah, right.
He may
you're
view
right.
it totally different because we didn't see Lee in training camp either.
So we didn't have an opportunity to see how they were going to use him.
Right.
Which was going to be one of my questions for Mike McCarthy, but I thought maybe that was prying too deeply into team secrets.
Well, you already don't know.
And also,
I might as well go for it now. Huh? Just go for it.
no telling what the reaction would have been from the other reporters.
Right. Oh, my God.
Can you imagine what Michael Gelkin, how his response would have been?
I'm not going to ask another question ever.
All right, let's take a break, and we've got more from here at the Funtown RV Tailgate on Tostitos Championship Plaza here at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco in a moment.
I'm hungry.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
Make the most of summer with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. With great offers on a huge selection of Ford SUVs and the largest selection of truck inventory to choose from. Get huge offers across the Ford lineup. So grab the family and head out. Ford's helping you make the most out of summer. It's easier now during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Based on 2019 calendar year total sales. Based on Autodata compact and full-size stock inventory as of June 2020.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Help your fellow Cowboys Nation fans in their fight against cancer by purchasing Dallas Cowboys Crucial Catch gear. Support a great cause and look good doing it. Visit your local Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop or shop.dallascowboys.com. Mickey, have you been able to open that file yet?
I'm still looking for it. Hopefully you found it.
All right, we are here at the Funtown RV tailgate at the Tostitos Championship Plaza at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. That's a mouthful.
And my question is, why? Why are we here?
Well, look right behind
We're a part of this marketing program right here.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you said that.
Do you want a
because
trailer? You
part
might
of that
need to buy
marketing
one.
program
right there.
should be gear.
Gear.
Not just gear, but also food. That's what I'm looking for.
Are you wanting a trailer or what?
I want some food.
Oh,
There you
okay.
I
go.
want some wings.
Little
man.
wing stop
They
there.
got it right there.
Official flavor of the
We're giving them
Cowboys.
love. We're giving them love, so I got to have some wings, man.
Maybe someone will emerge out of that RV with some wings for you.
Lemon pepper, please, if you're listening.
All right. Anything of note, Mickey, that we need to know about besides the fact that the sun is peeking through the clouds here, and it is warming up a little bit, although we do appreciate the heaters that we have.
I was going to say, we could make the other shows mad at us that had to start like at 9:30 this morning. I'm thinking I got to take my jacket off. It's getting a little
It's
toasty
getting
here.
a little warm.
Yeah.
I love it. This is a great setup, though, for real. We almost look like royalty.
And it'd be great if, the weather was nicer. We probably would have had people out here throwing the football around. And
Yep, we're overlooking the football field here at Tostitos Championship Plaza.
And I'm distracted just by all the beautiful screen.
Yeah, you get the big screen to look at.
plays.
And I'll tell you, because when I'm doing my live shots for CBS 11, we were out here, and there are Frisco youth football teams and cheerleading squads and so forth. They come out here, and they have practices out here. The other day, 2 days ago, when it was 39 degrees and raining out here, there was a youth football team dressed up as Dallas Cowboys out here, and coaches, the dads came. They had these big old bags full of equipment and stuff, and I was thinking, can you imagine what those moms were saying? You're going to do what? You're going to have practice in this weather?
you know what? When we were kids growing up in the winter in Chicago and the snow on the ground, we lived for those days to go out and play football in the snow. We thought it
wasn't snowing, though.
It was
That
the
was the
coolest.
difference.
It
It
was
would've
the
been all right if it was
coolest thing
snowing.
in the world to go out there and then come home and you're muddy and it's like, what have you been doing? Well, it's football season. We're playing
If I was one
football.
of these kids, if I wouldn't want to come, but if they said we're dressing up as Cowboys and we're coming to this field, I'd be there.
That's true.
And brothers don't like rain and cold, but I'd be there.
Well, speaking of dressing up, it was good to see Zach Martin out at practice these last 2 days. So he should be good to go. That gives a little bit of stability to that offensive line and maybe gives Ben DiNucci a little bit of a chance because, the Eagles, their calling card still that front, right?
Yeah.
The guys that they have there.
Richard Cox. Yeah.
With Cox and Graham and Barnett, that's still pretty stout. So the Cowboys are going to need to give him as much protection as possible. And I know everybody wants to say, well, they just need to run the ball. Well, don't you think the Eagles are thinking the same thing? They're going to load the box,
They're
right?
gonna 9-man front. It's serious.
And then when it's time to throw the ball and you get him in a passing down, Schwartz, he does it anyway. He's coming after him. They're going to be more blitzes. So a lot of this is going to be that offensive line's recognition of what's about to happen. And you can say, okay, Ben DiNucci's got to get the ball out quick, but he's also needs probably an extra tick or two to figure things out where it needs to go because they're going to come after him. So to me, having Zach Martin back, I think is huge. I'm not sure about Looney. He may need a next week before he's ready to come back, and we'll see where that goes with Sean Lee.
I like
also.
what Biotish is doing in
Yes,
there.
no, absolutely.
And more importantly, Mike McCarthy likes it. I asked him about it the other day, and he said he did a good job against Washington, and a lot of that is the mental stuff too, and setting protections and stuff
Especially
like that.
for a young center.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I
got
think
4.5 games under his belt.
I think
now.
Biotis and Martin. I think they'll do well together. Sometimes it's like if you break down the units, it's like you can only make a difference within a small unit. Zach Martin wouldn't come back and make a difference between the entire football squad. But if you just take that offensive line unit, he can make a difference along with the young man badass, if you don't mind me calling that. But with that, you're talking 2 decent players, more than decent players out of 5. You understand?
Yeah, and they're next to each other, right? And that helps. That's right. That helps the rookie.
It helps a little bit with the continuity, and then you can kind of bring the other guys along with you as far as the tackles are concerned. So that's not a bad deal for that unit to be shored up. Then that's something that we can concentrate on to say we can bank on that in the ballgame.
Because one of the things on Tyler Biadasz, I think, is that he had some injury issues coming out of college, which I think dropped him a little bit in the draft. And I think had he been fully healthy, I think he probably would have been more like a 3rd-round pick, and instead he went late 4th. And as a testament to that is the fact that the Cowboys traded up, gave up a pick this coming year in order to move up to take him late.
And compounding that on him, he heading into his senior year at Wisconsin, or his last year at Wisconsin, he had off-season surgery too. Right. So the last 2 off seasons he's had surgeries, and I think maybe his play wasn't to the extent it was the previous year, but he was still voted the Remington Award winner as the best center in the country.
Yes.
So, yeah, getting him where they did, to me, was a steal. And I always thought that had they had a regular offseason and preseason, that he would have challenged for that starting job.
Well, and we were talking about this yesterday off the air, Mickey. I don't know that it's so much a talent issue with the young guys on the offensive line. It's an experience issue.
Yes.
And
it's okay with being both. It's okay to be both. I mean, you got to work with what you got.
And, Connor McGovern was a 3rd-round draft pick out of Penn State, big school and so forth. Well, the Cole Holcomb sack of Andy Dalton, where he blitzed up the middle, Biadasz is taking the guy to straight up on him, and there's a safety blitzing to the right side. Came a little bit before the linebacker. McGovern took the safety rather than the linebacker. Mm-hmm. Zeke was in position to take that safety. Had McGovern taken the linebacker instead, as it was, Zeke got run over because he didn't have leverage. He wasn't in position to take the linebacker. But it's little things like that, being able to figure out protections like that comes with experience.
And that one person can make a difference.
Exactly. And that's where Jack Del Rio last week, he's bringing everybody at the young quarterback. In that case, it was Dalton.
Yeah.
But against a young offensive line, and you can only imagine what Schwartz is going to do this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's what they've got to be able to just give him an opportunity, give him a chance. And then the other thing that has to happen is the defense has to play better. You can't ask this guy to go out there and put 30 on the board, right? Make it reasonable. How about say I got to score 17 or 20 to win? Because, Philadelphia, they've struggled some on offense, right?
They struggled.
I mean, the quarterback's got as many touchdown passes as he has interceptions. It's 10-10.
He's been hit and knocked down more than any quarterback.
28 sacks.
That's crazy.
In 7 games.
I don't even understand that.
So I don't know what that pace is, but
it's around 60.
But if it's 8 games, and double it, it would be 60 for the season. And he's dealing with wide receivers that are younger, although they
found
would be
64 actually.
Yeah. Very good in their math,
but
real fast.
Will the Cowboys add to that?
I know.
This is what you have to.
And this is what they need.
The Cowboys game and say, okay,
they haven't played the Cowboys because that'll bring the average down.
Right. So that's the other point that I think is going to be very important in this game.
All right. I'm trying to debate whether we enter into another topic or we take a break and then come back with a longer. Let's take a break.
Yeah, I hear Chris yelling back there.
Okay, so we're going to take a break and we'll be back to the Funtown RV tailgate at Tostitos Championship Plaza at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco in just a moment.
Oh, there you go, Bill.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
What do you call a group of grown men and women who get together every week, proudly wearing the star, to share a 3-hour-long ritual of cheering, shouting at the TV, and raising their Miller Lite together while yelling, "How about them boys?" You call it Miller Time and Cowboys Nation. Here's to the only beer of the Cowboys celebrating 60 years of greatness. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2020 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Back to Mick Shots.
Unified welterweight world champion Errol the Truth Spence Jr. will duel two-division world champion Danny Swift Garcia in a blockbuster main event on Saturday, December 5th at AT&T Stadium. Get your tickets now before they sell out at SeatGeek.com.
I just might be there for that.
You know what? Bill's auditioning to be the ring guy.
That's right.
The ring announcer.
Are you ready to rumble?
Rumble.
I'm going to be, Now, normally, Saturday, December 5th, that's normally when the Big 12 championship game is at AT&T Stadium, but they pushed it back this year because
a week
of the,
or two later,
it's
right?
December 19th this year instead. So they filled that gap in the schedule there with boxing on Saturday, December 5th. And you, Danny Swift Garcia, he's got a shot at Spence, you say?
No, he does not.
No shot. Okay.
No, Spence is the man.
As long as he's back
Spence,
to being
he hits
himself.
like he's too. Yeah, that's right. After the accident, of course, I'm assuming he's going to be okay. But he always did punches if he was like a couple of classes higher than what he was, you know. So he's coming with the heat. And I know Danny's smooth, and oh my God, he's an amazing, accomplished boxer. But this is not going to be pretty. It's almost going to be like a Tyson fight.
I went to his last fight when he fought at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
Not to work
Now,
either.
have you been to
Sat
boxing here at Ford Center?
Yes, I have. And it's pretty neat because everything's like really close. Now, I obviously wasn't sitting in the stands. I ended up with a media pass.
Yeah,
and
VIP.
So I'm like 7 or 8 rows from the ring.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool, though. And everything's compact. And it is. It looks like you. Well, doesn't look like it's Vegas.
No, doesn't look like it's Vegas.
But the crowd dresses up
Yes,
like they think
do.
they're going
Doesn't
to
matter. Yes, they
fight
do.
in Vegas. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now I'm not going to be here tomorrow because I've got a conflict. All right.
Oh.
So I want to find out from both of you, what do the Cowboys need to do to actually win this game on Saturday night?
I just gave you my 2 points.
It's got to start with defense.
Right?
Yep.
It has to start with defense. It's no way this team is going to survive this season. You're going to end up with, who's the next quarterback again? Bell?
No. Well,
he would
Garrett
be the
Gilbert is.
He would. Garrett
okay, we got Gilbert.
will be,
That's right. We
he'll
got
be
Gilbert.
active this game.
But Gilbert
Cooper
won't
Rush,
last
Cooper
either.
Rush is on the way.
Is he?
Yeah. For next week, he will be on the practice
He'll be
squad
eligible to actually practice, so he'll be on the practice squad.
But the emergency quarterback, you was mentioning Blake Bell. Now, Cedric Wilson would be we saw him throw a touchdown
I'd love
pass
to see
Dak.
Cedric back there. A little bit more athletic. We could turn to a Lamar Jackson thing. That'd be nice. But whatever we do, you've got to have a defense that can give you a chance that can hold it down for your offense to get on track. Because trust me, this is not going to be smooth at all. Any game that we win, it's going to be ugly.
Or maybe give them a short field so they don't have to go. I looked up the other day, so it didn't count last week because they didn't score a touchdown. They hadn't scored a touchdown on a drive less than 64 yards.
Still? We're still doing that?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Nothing less than 64.
What was last year?
I'm not sure what last year was. And I think the only thing they had shorter than 64 yards scoring was, I think, 3 field goals. And that was it. So, yeah, it's always a long field for a touchdown drive.
I've done the research. Okay, yeah, I got it in my
So he's got the answers to his question to us, right?
Okay. He's just setting us up.
All right, here you go. Cowboys have had 73 offensive possessions this season.
Okay.
How many times have they started a drive on the plus side of their own 37-yard line?
I'm going to guess no more than 3.
I was going to say 1.
3 times.
Oh!
You go.
3 times. Okay, the first time was when Chido Awuzie, who comes back this week, had the interception in the Rams game.
Is that the only interception of the season?
The only interception of the season. That's right. And they started at the plus 39-yard line that time.
Did they score? But they didn't score a touchdown.
Kicked a field goal.
Kicked a field goal.
Kicked a field goal. The next one was the Atlanta game, the onside kick. They started at their own 46-yard line.
Kicked a field goal.
Okay. And then it was Tony Pollard's kickoff return against Washington.
So, wait, you said start off in plus territory, right?
I'm sorry, the plus side of their own 37-yard line.
Oh, okay.
So outside their own 37-yard line.
All right.
And so Tony Pollard at the plus 34. That was the best field position
and they
they've
wasted
had.
that position.
And they kicked field goal on that one, too.
Yeah.
And now they did have one other where the DeMarcus Lawrence strip sack that resulted in a touchdown.
Right.
But that wasn't starting a drive.
You didn't have a possession.
Right.
Yeah.
No possession.
So how about that?
I believe you.
3 times in 73 possessions. They started less than 63 yards away.
Which has to be last in the league.
Okay, so what about on the other side of the 50? Do you have?
Well, that would be the only time on the other side of the 50 is twice. It would be the Pollard kickoff return last week against Washington and the Awuzie the first
That's
game
all
of the
I was.
year.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking on the other side of the 50.
Yeah. So, how about that?
They've made it difficult, and maybe that's why they were leading the league in yards gained because they always had the furthest to go.
Going back to last year,
right?
It's the same thing. Once again, how do we stop that?
Have to drive the
turnovers.
Turnovers. Got to get the football.
Takeaways.
Always the way. That's why, and I said earlier, if the Cowboys do win a game, it's going to be ugly. Let me be more specific. In order for them to win a game, it has to be ugly.
It'll be reminiscent of your only win in '89,
yes,
right?
Yes.
All right, let me flip it around.
Which I got my only interception that game, by the way.
All right, how about the opponents? How many times has the Cowboys' opponent? I'm outside the 35-yard line. Okay, on within.
What do you
65
mean outside?
yards? Within 65 yards of a touchdown.
Yes.
How many times has the opponent in 71 possessions started a drive 65 yards or less away from the end zone?
I'm going to say a third of that.
I was going to say half.
17 out of 71.
I was close.
Third's good.
I was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
So it was about a quarter.
So they haven't. So again, they're not helping their defense either in that respect. But as I continue to say, just because you get that field position doesn't mean you have to give up a touchdown.
That's right.
You know, give me a field goal. You know, hang in there.
Mm-hmm. After a while, your research needs to be what's the percentage that the opposition's offense has scored?
On possessions?
Yes. Versus how many possessions?
Well, I've already dissected all the drives. All I got to do is add the scores.
You know what? I think it's in those extended stats there, by the way.
Which would probably be
But by the time I dug it out and counted it up, our show would be an over.
All right. So anyway, defense wins this football game.
It's got to keep
gives them a chance.
Gives them a chance. Gets them to stay in the game. That's what needs to happen.
And just think, we were talking about Zach Martin coming back, playing beside Biadasz. then let's talk about Sean Lee coming back, regardless of who he's playing by. Having him in there, not having him in there, could explain some of just the downright ineptness of our defense. Now, I know Sean Lee coming in is not going to save the day necessarily, but what you want is something that you can count on.
And it'll be interesting to see if he's ready to go. So he practiced a little bit last week. He practiced more this week.
And they aren't listing him on the injury report because he's on injured reserve.
He's on IR,
yeah,
so
we don't get
really
a feel for whether he had a full practice or not.
And they can make that move on Saturday, I think.
So all the complaints that they had about the game plan being too complicated, the defensive plan too complicated, hopefully when Sean Lee comes in, clears up a little bit of the confusion, and maybe we don't have so many big plays that lead to our demise.
Right. Maybe hey, you know what? Here's what's getting ready to happen.
Yes.
Right.
You know, and it goes
and
back to.
And we've lost on just, like you said, those critical moments. You talk about it all the time, those critical moments. If we can eliminate those critical mistakes, then we have a chance.
I used to say this about Roy Williams. Roy Williams was a really good safety when Darren Woodson was on the field. And I think Jalen Smith's a better linebacker when Sean Lee's on the field.
I do agree with that.
And there are just some guys that help everybody else out.
I do agree with that.
And so I don't know, how many snaps he might get. I mean, let's face it, he hadn't played a down of football since the end of last year. But
that might be a good thing.
I mean, we'll see.
That's
where he's at.
Is go study the scoring plays and which of the scoring plays this year were the result of guys being confused and out of position.
Hard to quantify that, though. We have to go.
Right.
We have to see what the coaches.
Well, the other thing, you should do like hockey when they do plus or minus. Like if you're on the ice for a goal, you got a minus there.
Yes.
They don't do that in football. He was on the field for a touchdown. Darn it.
All right. So, all right. You before we came on the air,
yes,
you were talking about Michael Gallup was up there on the big screen, and how about a parting Mick shot on the talk about Michael Gallup possibly being traded?
It's a 3-word answer. No, no, no. And I think Jerry Jones recently answered that question.
I got 3 words.
Because the minute you do that, and it never fails, you end up with an injury at that position, and then you're sitting there going, where's my depth? The other part is he's inexpensive. You've got control of him for 2 more years at a very inexpensive rate for his talent. You don't want to give up on that.
Extremely.
I mean, what are you going to get back? Is somebody going to give you a first? No, they're not doing that. Are they going to give you a starting offensive tackle? No, that's not going to happen either. You just don't even think about that.
That's my pick-to-click guy for the year. I told you about it. He's going to have he was on his way to having a great year until this whole fiasco happened.
So 2 years from now, or maybe 3 years from now, of the Cowboys wide receivers, name 2 that will be on this roster 2 years from now. CD will be here.
Yep, we do know that.
So what I'm getting at, will Michael
Gallup
or Cooper?
And that's a hard question because, and I surprised somebody with this answer today. I said, do you realize that Amari Cooper is second in the NFL in receptions, and he is on pace to break Michael Irvin's single-season franchise record of 111 catches in a season. He's on pace for 121, I figured out.
Do we have to get rid of either?
I mean, why do you have to get rid of anybody?
I want to keep all 3 of them. Let's keep them together. Have a fun bunch thing.
Now, what's going to happen, though, Gallup is going to become more expensive, obviously.
Well, but you would get him to the point where he's a restricted free agent. So next year he would be restricted, right? You got him this year.
CD is also getting close to free agency by then, although you've got a 5th-year option on him.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that one. And you could qualify him with a first-round pick, and it'll be a 1-year, $4 million deal. You just wasted 3.5 on a guy that couldn't make weight.
It's hard to imagine Amari Cooper not being here. Because really, he's our solid guy. When we talk about picking on a cornerback, when they have a cornerback that's supposed to be a stud, we look for Cooper to change that narrative. He was killing Jalen Ramsey. I mean, until the flop.
Right.
We came at him. No one was afraid of him on this team. We're not afraid of any cornerbacks because we have Amari Cooper.
See, this occurred to me, and I got to work on this story. This is why when you have opportunities to win games like they had early and you let them go away, you need those games now,
Yes,
right?
we
Because
do.
now you're going to lose some because of other circumstances.
That's right.
But when you had opportunities back then
When
like
things
that,
were in your control.
you cannot let those games. And I said it last year, and Bill got tired of me saying it.
Is that something that you take a look at, seeing whether or not you tweak how you structure the practice week, or is that something that's off the table?
Bill Jones, a real comedian.
Oh, God. I'm dying over here.
I just want that wasn't me.
All right, what better way
Thank
to
you,
start?
Mike. I appreciate it.
What better way to start and to end
my God.
Mick Shots? Just thought of that. Now I can't figure out how to turn it off.
And I forgot my point
Put
I
it
was
on
trying
repeat,
to make.
Bill. Put it on the loop, Bill. Put
There
it
you
on
go.
the loop.
All right, and you can go check out Mike. It's 12 and a half minutes into, on Periscope anyway, it was 12 and a half minutes into Mike McCarthy's press conference. You get to hear Mickey Spagnola say, God. There
It's
you
going
go.
viral.
All right, that does it for Mick Shots from out here at Funtown RV Tailgate at Tostitos Championship Plaza at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, and they will see you tomorrow at 1:30 out here.
I'll miss you, Bill.
Yeah.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!